It is that time of the week, guys. We're back with another mock draft Wednesday. I have not missed a mock draft Wednesday since I've started my channel, which has been in October, I think, or maybe September. I don't know. I think it was October. I've not missed a mock draft Wednesday since there, and I was thinking today maybe I take a day off because I sometimes take a day off of the week. No, that's not happening. So we're gonna start with the mock draft today. A lot of different moves. Nothing that's going to be that much different for this pick. It's going to be Fernando Mendoza to the Raiders. This is an easy pick for me. It really is. There's not much variation for this pick because there isn't much room for variation. This team needs a quarterback, and if you want a quarterback, take the best quarterback in the draft. Take Fernando Mendoza. You have the pick of all the litter. You have first pick, but you have to take your quarterback here, and this makes the most sense for me as a kind of like an internet analyst, I guess, and just as like a fan, this makes the most sense for me because Fernando Mendoza was literally the best college football quarterback. There's the college football quarterback that's draft eligible. I think the best college football quarterback just in general that's eligible, and there's no way to deny that. Like, there really isn't. So I like Fernando Mendoza a lot here. This makes a lot of sense for this team. There's not really much more justification I need to do. I mean, if you follow the draft, you follow this process, you know Fernando Mendoza is the most sought-after quarterback this draft, and he's going to go number one overall because, he's the most sought-after quarterback. So I think taking Fernando Mendoza, it's not a bad idea to take him here. The Jets have a lot of areas they can go to as well. My primarily thing is edge. Edge is one of the most important positions. I don't think they need tackles, so that's why Maui Noah isn't going here. Maui Noah is, again, a great tackle. I don't think he's one of the best tackle prospects I've ever seen, but he's a solid tackle. But this team already has two tackles in Fashanu and the guy that got from Missouri, Membu. So they have their two tackles of the future. You're not going to reach on a tackle. Safeties, you got Minkah Fitzpatrick. I'm not going to reach on that corner. I don't like the value here. And wide receiver, I would rather you take wide receiver at pick 16 because you have pick 16 from the Colts after trading away Sauce Gardner. So we're going to go with an edge rusher here. You have your pick of the litter. You have the three edge rushers here, which is Arvin Reese, Ruben Bain, David Bailey, and those are the three there. If you don't know that, you're probably new or you just don't pay attention. So I like Arvin Reese the most. I think this makes the most sense schematically. Ruben Bain has had 200 snaps outside 200 snaps at outside linebacker. David Bailey played outside linebacker in the Stanford system. They haven't played outside linebacker a lot recently, or just a lot in general. Arvin Reese has played that 51/49 off-ball and on-ball side of snaps. He has the versatility. Aaron Glenn runs a 3-4 scheme, and that defense runs a 3-4 scheme. Makes the most sense to me. People are saying, okay, yeah, they did have snaps at outside linebackers, so these other edge rushers, Bain and Bailey, they can have flexibility there. Problem is, Arvin Reese, I think, has a little more flexibility, and he's not younger than Bain, but he's younger than Bailey, so I have him taken over Bailey. I think Bailey has marginal strength issues and bend issues. Ruben Bain has short arms, and I think the Jets would probably like to take the guy with the higher upside. I think he has higher upside than those two anyways. So if we take Arvin Reese, who isn't the most polished prospect, probably not the most polished number 2 overall prospect you've ever seen, it's still a good pick, and people try to kind of downplay that. I don't really think you need to, and it's a solid pick. I don't know why people are really upset at Arvin Reese. I know I've seen people who are like, oh, Arvin Reese is a terrible pass rusher. I don't think so. I think he's a good pass rusher. I think he has some work to do, but I think as a full-time edge, it's a concern, right? You're concerned with him as a full-time edge, but I think this team can afford, with the amount of draft capital they have, they can afford to take a swing. And if he doesn't work out, just play him that hybrid role he was already playing. And he's not like Isaiah Simmons, where it's that slot where we play safety, linebacker, slot, corner. Like, there's a lot of issues with Isaiah Simmons. I liked Isaiah Simmons coming out of college, but I didn't know what his role was, and I was also in 6th grade at the time, so I didn't really understand that. So we're gonna go Arvin Reese here. It makes the most sense for me. The Cardinals on the board. People have been mocking edge here. I think David Bailey, if they go edge here, this makes the most sense for them, and you get instant pass rush, which they lacked. So I would say David Bailey, but I don't know. I just think that people are really starting to get prospect fatigue on Francis Maui. I mean, it's just so easy to say, oh, I want the flashy pick in the edge rusher when you need the tackle here. I recently watched Maui Noah's tape. I really liked it. I really did. And I think people are kind of getting fatigued. Like I said, they're getting fatigued from Francis because the whole reason is you're kind of concerned that maybe you don't want to reach on a tackle because he's not the best tackle in the world. And I can 100% get behind that argument, right? Why would you force a position? But it's different if it was like a wide receiver or a running back. If you want to force a running back and you need a big positional need, tackle is one of the most important in the game. And even though he doesn't blow me away as a prospect. He's not the most refined prospect in the world. He is a good pick, and he has the marginal strength that you need. He's so strong. He just bullies you outside. He just throws you around. He doesn't have insane lateral quickness, but again, I don't think people are very, very concerned with how he does in the NFL. So I think he'll translate pretty well to the NFL regardless. The Titans, I usually go Jeremiah Love. I'm going to change it up today. I'm going to go Ruben Bain Jr. edge out of Miami, Florida. This makes the most sense. If it's not Love, I think I like this pick a lot. They need a real 3-down edge. But the amount of they traded for, they got Jermaine Johnson, who has had his ups and downs in his career. But I like Ruben Bain Jr. a lot. I think he'll be awesome. The only problem is his short arms. So I think that makes a little more difference. I don't know, but I just wanted to have a little bit more variation to my mock drafts. It makes a lot of sense for the Titans to go edge here because maybe they don't value running back the same. Even though I feel like the drop from Jeremiah Love to Jadarian Price or even Mike Washington, Jordan Coleman, like it's big. It's really big. So do you want to reach on a running back because the drop off is so big? I wouldn't even say Jeremiah Love is a reach. I have him as a top 3 prospect, but do you want to just take a chance on that really? So that's interesting. How much does this organization value running back? But it's a big need. Even PFF has him listed as a need. It's a big need. But do you want to take a chance on that? That's the main question. The Giants on the board, even with Jeremiah Love, I don't know why people mock him there. I just think Scott and Tracy are fine. I feel like people are throwing Tyron Tracy out the window. He's been a solid pick for a round 5 pick. He really has. So I think Sonny Styles makes the most sense for me. Sonny Styles is honestly the most liked linebacker in this class. I think he's a top 5 player in this class. He has great tackling ability, really good in between the blocks. It's just a solid pick. It makes the most sense. This team did sign a linebacker today. They signed Cam Johnson, I think, or some guy, someone named Cam. But regardless, all the linebacker signings have not made the sense. Sonny Styles is good. He has upside to be a great pass cover, which I'm not really sure how refining is there, but he's really solid as a linebacker position. With the Browns on the board, I have a lot of needs for them. They need tackle, but I don't think Magno makes sense. You can reach on Monroe Freeland. I haven't gotten that in a minute, but I'm going to keep on going Carl Tate. I reevaluated Carl Tate recently. I think he was an amazing pick. I just really like his tape. His tape makes so much sense. It's just like, it's such a solid, like, route. His route running is crisp. His separation is good. His, well, it's not like elite, but it's good. His catch point is really good. He's just a solid prospect, surefire hands. He doesn't have the concerns of some of these other wide receivers in this class, right? Mekhi Lemon, you're worried about explosiveness and size. Jordan Tyson's the injury history. Denzel Boston, you're worried about he relies too much on his athleticism, his technique. Casey Conception is a smaller guy. They don't really need that right now. Maybe you take him at pick 24, but pick 6 is a little crazy. Omar Cooper Jr. is a little bit of a reach too. I think concerns there. Chris Bell towards ACL. Jeremy Bernard, you're worried about the ceiling. Chris Bozell, limited route tree. Not as limited as usual, but again, it's Tennessee wide receiver, which is fine, but I'm not going to take him 6 overall. I mean, that's crazy. So, Carl Tate makes the most sense here. It really just, like, it fits this team needs. I mean, he might not be the most explosive wide receiver ever coming out of college. He's not going to be like Malik Neighbors or Harrison Jr. or even like Chase Henn, for example. But again, he's a solid prospect. You know what you're getting. And people are acting like he's not going to be a 1,000-yard receiver. If you can drop 1,000 yards, I think this is definitely worth the pick. Like, you may not have your number 1 wide receiver forever, but you'll be a good number 1 for the time you need him to be, because he stepped up in areas where Jeremiah Smith was hurt or just in different plays. And he can also be your wide receiver 2 or 1B next to another team, because again, he's already been that second guy next to Jeremiah Smith, who's already a generational prospect. It makes sense. The Commanders, with Jeremiah Love here, I think they can not reach, but they can pick Jeremiah Love. This makes a lot of sense for them. I think Jeremiah Love would be amazing for this team. You need a halfback here. I don't think they're tied to Jacoby Crossing long term. Austin Eckler's coming off an Achilles injury, so you're going to need a replacement there. Jeremiah Love can be the best running back in that room. He will be. You definitely will be. And that's a guarantee I can give you. He's just an overall solid prospect. It makes sense, and he's not even a solid prospect. He's an above average prospect. I have him maybe ranked 3 on my board. The main reason is because I think he's a really good player. I mean, he has a great one-catch ability, great vision, awesome footwork. It's awesome. It's really awesome to see how well he does. So I like Jeremiah Love a lot. This makes a lot of sense for this team, especially with how they're tied to the running backs long term. So contractually, it also makes sense, but also just logistically and just BPA makes sense a lot. So I like it a lot for this team. They really need a halfback here. So it's either that or Downs, but I'm going to go Love today. I think I would prefer Love in this scenario. The Saints, I think the Saints could really use someone like Downs. I really do. Brandon Staley used Downs in situations where use Derwin James in a situation. I think Downs can play that box safety, but I think Downs also has the versatility that people are underrating, where he can play that area. I think he's also very turnover prone. He's very smart, so I think he can be a decent ball hawk safety. That you're not taking for that, but again, you're taking for his versatility. I love the versatility. It's awesome. I think Ohio State utilized him in a certain way. I think other organizations that draft him can use him in different ways as well. It's a real piece, and his floor is already so high that I'm already confident that he can already be a defensive player, a defensive rookie of the year front candidate, and also just a Pro Bowler. That's how good I think he is, and people will undermine that a little bit. I think so too. And there's also concerns of how good do you think he can get after this. That's a valid question to ask, but why would you worry about how good can he get when he's already so good right now? It makes a lot of sense. Good tackling. This team can use him similar to Derwin James, like Brandon Staley did. Solid pick. Chiefs. Spencer Fano tested out very well, but I think, again, if Maui Noah isn't here, I think Mansour Delane is in play. I don't hate the edge pick here, but I'm going to go Mansour here. I think Mansour makes a lot of sense here. He lost the Trent McDuffie role. It's kind of similar to Trent McDuffie. I think Avon Latrell will kind of fit a little bit better than that, but Mansour is a little smaller too, and he has great jarring the ball loose. I saw his tape 2 or 3 days ago, and he has great hand placement. There was my favorite rep ever was him of his, not ever, but his rep. South Carolina, 4th and 4. Sellers throws it on the outside. Mansour bodies him, gets his hand in there, knocks it loose. 4th and 4, turnover and downs. That was my favorite play of his tape session, and the reason is because he just looks like he's so poised for being so small. Because he was on a bigger receiver, he looks so poised, and that's what I want from my corner, especially if he's a little undersized and a little not great in the arm department length. So I like this pick a lot for them. It makes sense for this team. They need a corner, and this team hasn't had like the number one corner since Trent McDuffie. And then obviously Snead. But regardless, this team needs a corner, and Spags can use him similar to McDuffie. It's a good schematic fit. The Bengals on the clock. There's a lot of areas they can go here as well. I think David Bailey is not a bad idea as well. This makes the most sense for me. I'm going to go David Bailey, edge out of Texas Tech. I like the edge value here. David Bailey can be a good pass rusher they needed. I know they did get Shamar Stewart with the whole contract disputes last year. That was crazy. But I like David Bailey here. Makes the most sense for me. You want a good edge rusher, and there's concerns about him actually being able to do it. But do it as in be that 3-down edge rusher, that presence you have now that you lost Trey Hendrickson. That's going to be an interesting area to talk about because, again, like I've said, I'm not very confident in his 3-down lineman skills as of right now. I think in the future he can, but as of right now, I'm concerned. And the main reason is because his strength is marginal. There's sometimes good flashes of strength, sometimes it's very, very poor. And his edge rushing is super good. He can get past you really quickly, but if these longer tackles push him off balance and he loses some of his steam, how well can he recover there? That's going to be another issue too. And that's my big problem with him and Cassius Howell, where it's like, okay, if you don't win immediately, you're basically useless on this play, especially for Cassius Howell, because if he loses immediately, he might just be out of the play completely because those guys will just jump on him because his arm length is so short, so you can't even move past them. That's a big problem. Even R. Mason Thomas, but I'm a little less worried about that. But David Bailey, I'm a little less worried too. It's mainly just Cassius Howell. I want to throw in a sneaky Cassius Howell jab there. I didn't mean to, but I just did. So David Bailey is good value for this pick. I like it a lot. The Dolphins on the clock. After trading with Minkah Fitzpatrick, I think Dylan Thielen is 100% in play. Spencer Fano is not in a bad shape either. I think Samiava, or their guard that they took a couple years ago, has not been good. It really hasn't been good. A wide receiver is also in play. I like Jordan Tyson's schematic fit. He can be that true number one receiver. Even Mekhi Lemon to a point because he can be that Jalen Waddle replacement. Or you can go Big Ione. I'm going to go Jordan Tyson. I'm going to go Jordan Tyson. I know there's the injury concerns, but I think Jordan Tyson was awesome at ASU. It was a real... When he was on the field, when watching his film, I thought he was the best wide receiver in this class, but the only reason I'm knocking him is because of injuries. And that's a big concern because his athletic abilities to catch and contort his body is elite, but he doesn't have the top end speed, especially with all the lingering history and issues. How concerned are you with his overall long being in the NFL? That's going to be a real issue to talk about. But I think he'll be solid for this team regardless. I think they need a wide receiver one because Malik Washington, Jalen Tolbert, and Tutu Atwell are not starting wide receiver or wide receiver one caliber, especially Malik Washington. He can be that wide receiver 3. I'm not really hopeful of him actually being good. And I don't want to throw in a third or fourth round rookie in there, like I don't know. I don't want to throw in like Elijah Surratt to be the number one guy because you're concerned about his athleticism and how well he can hang. Even Malachi Fields, like I'm concerned there. Like that's a big problem. But if you take Jordan Tyson here, I think he can hang with some of the best, and he has hung with some of the best in college. So I think taking Jordan Tyson here is not a bad idea. The Cowboys, I think safety is 100% in play. I think this makes a lot of sense. I'm going to go Dylan Thiemann, who tested amazingly in the combine, who passed my eye check when I watched this film again. It was awesome. It was really awesome. I definitely think corners in play. I like the corner board here. I think Avon Troll would be a good schematic, but maybe he'll fall to 20. But I like Dylan Thiemann here. It makes a lot of sense for this team. It just makes sense. You need a smothering safety. I know they signed some other guys, but Dylan Thiemann can literally step in and be that guy if you need him to. I mean, you don't have to make him the most have the highest role, especially with some of the depth that they have, but they need safety. They really do. So I think I would rather take Dylan Thiemann here than reach on a corner. The Rams on the board. Kenyon Sadiq is here. You might want another weapon, but I'm going to go Makai Lemon, wide receiver out of USC. This makes a lot of sense for me too as well. I think I like Makai Lemon a lot. Lack of explosiveness, he has dropped a lot in my board, but the only reason is because again the versatility is unmatched. I don't think out of the top three receivers he has the most amount of versatility, but the explosiveness and size doesn't really get me there. But the catching point is so good. You're gonna need someone to go long term after Devontae Adams is gone. I like it a lot for this team. It makes a lot of sense. And honestly, I like his versatility so much more than some of the other prospects in this draft. That's the big takeaway for me. But I think the catching point is so solid that you just really want to kind of open that, and he hasn't dropped he has a 2% drop rate in college. Like that's how good his hands were. So I like it a lot for this team. This team needs a wide receiver for the future. I know Devontae Adams is good, but you probably aren't going to invest in him long term. Obviously Puka Nacua is there. I don't think you're ever going to let him go, but McCollum would be a good stud next to him. It's honestly a good role and fit for them to be here, especially next to Matt Stafford, who is an MVP. Ravens on the clock. Spencer Fano's right here. No hesitation. We're going straight for it. They need a center guard, and even if the tackle goes down, they need a tackle. He fills in two of the four positions they have him needing, which is very, very clutch. This team needs a tackle here. And honestly, if they get their guard and tackle in the future, Spencer Fano is going to be a cornerstone to the team. It really is. And if they do that, there'll be a solid option for this team. I like it a lot. This makes a lot of sense for me. It just makes a lot of sense. It really does. And this team, Declan Dwell especially, kind of goes towards these guys instead of Vega, who doesn't really have that swing tackle ability. But if we take Spencer Fano here, he has that swing tackle ability. It makes a lot of sense for his team schematically. The Bucks on the board. I think guard is 100% in play. I think they need guard update. I think taking Vega Ione here is not a bad idea whatsoever. I think Vega would be amazing pick for this team. I'm surprised people haven't really been mocking Vega here, because I feel like guard is a big need. If you look at guard, right, Ben Bredson is not somebody I'm gonna invest in long term. Cody Mauch is also someone like they can use an upgrade. They can use an upgrade. And I think this team could definitely use an upgrade at guard. I think Vega's awesome. He has great strength, and I know people don't usually value guards. I like guards sometimes more than I do tackles, because they're so, I don't know, it's just fun to watch them, see them pancake, because those guys are usually the beefier guys of the group. I like guard here. Vega can lay your butt down, and I think he can't do that. So I like Vega here. Makes the most sense for me. And he has a really high floor in the NFL when he comes in. He only allowed 5 pressures in college. I don't bring the stat up every single time, but that's just crazy. 5 pressures in college this year. You don't, especially with how bad that Penn State team was and how much of a revolving door. That's even more impressive. It really is. So I like Vega here. Makes a lot of sense. The Jets. There's a lot of areas they can go here as well. Do you like the board here? Honestly, I think Omar Cooper Jr. is in play. I haven't really had him going to the Jets because I usually have Jordan Tyson or Makai Lemon falling. But today I have Omar Cooper Jr. going here. I think Omar Cooper Jr. would be awesome for this team. Be a good slot guy, because I think he can play in the slot if you need him to. And this team kind of needs a slot receiver, so I'm not the biggest hater of that pick. And you need a wide receiver just in general, because Adonai Mitchell, I know you traded for him with Sauce Gardner, so I like the extra haul you got on there too. But you also got Garrett Wilson too. But if you take Omar Cooper Jr., I know it's the Jets, but like that receiving trio is not bad. Garrett Wilson, Adonai Mitchell, and Omar Cooper Jr. It's not a bad pick. It really isn't. I don't know. you did get rid of John Mechie, but Omar Cooper Jr. can fill in that John Mechie role. He's not as quick, but he has great contact balance, great hands, really good in the clutch. He's proved it in the clutch multiple times in Indiana this year. I think he'll be awesome for this team. Hopefully the Jets actually get into some clutch time situations and end up going out, because this team needs a real wide receiver that will help Garrett Wilson and Adonai Mitchell. So you invest in this future long term. So I don't hate it at all for this team. Lions. I think Monroe Freeling, if he goes here, it's perfect. Taylor Decker retired. I think you need to invest into that tackle group. You can get a better edge down the board because this edge class is deeper than this tackle class. So we're going to go edge later down the board. I mean, you can get Malachi Lawrence, Derek Moore. Don't sleep on Derek Moore. I'm telling you guys, y'all boys be better ready for Derek Moore. But I think Monroe Freeling will be awesome for this team. You need a left tackle. He doesn't have the most experience in the world ever, but again, I like it a lot. I really do. And I think Monroe Freeling can be like a real solid option for this team. It really can. And people are kind of concerned about that. I think he'll be awesome. I know there's little problems with his get off. I know there's a little problem with just how he overall just plays. But I think other than that, if you kind of develop him under one of the best offensive linemen in the NFL, he will be fine. He will be fine. I guarantee you he will be fine. And I think you can move him to left tackle and move Penei Sewell back to right tackle because he has had experience with right tackles. And I know people are concerned with his NFL readiness, but at the same time, right, like I would like to take a chance on this guy. I really would. And he's probably my tackle 3 or 2. I need to watch his film again because I haven't watched it in a couple months, but it's a solid pick. And I like it a lot. It makes a lot of sense for me. And the team needs to start building an offensive line, especially in the tackle area because they need a youth anyways. I would have had them taking tackle even regardless if their left tackle didn't retire. So I like it a lot. I like it a lot. It makes a lot of sense for me as a literal mock drafty. The Vikings. There's areas they can go here as well. I think defensive interior and safeties in play. So we're gonna do those two. So Caleb Banks, I'm not taking a chance on him in the first round. Katie McDonald, not bad run stopper, defensive player. So I think defensive interiors definitely need. I'm not taking AJ Halsey. So it means between Peter Woods and Emmanuel Warren. And do you want the big thumper or do you want the defensive interior, which they lost 2 of? I think Peter Woods makes the most sense for me because Peter Woods, again, he had the downside. But the reason why I'm higher on Peter Woods than some of these other people is because he literally was getting game plan around. Him and TJ Parker and K Park were getting game plan around. And that's a real issue. Like, obviously the stats are going to go down if you're one of the most dominant freshmen in the NFL or in college football. It's kind of same happened with Jeremiah Smith. I know Jeremiah Smith isn't as have that bad of a year because it's Jeremiah Smith, obviously. But Peter Woods, like, he was solid. He was a solid prospect, and I don't know why people are starting to harp on him because his numbers went down. You've seen big defensive tackles like Chris Jones have had down year. Dexter Lawrence has had down year. Like Jalen Carter has had down years. Right? There's areas where people game plan around these big defensive interiors because they know how dominant they are. And I think Peter Woods was stuck in that situation in Clemson. I think people will not forget about Peter Woods in the NFL, but the people will be a little less focused and he will be a little bit less of the focal point on that defensive line if he goes there. So it makes a lot of sense for this team because they need a defensive interior after losing 2 of them. And also you just bank on the upside. I know he shed some pounds. He can just turn you over. He has unreal speed for his size. I think he'll be pretty good. And he obviously is very, very powerful to just run you over. There's countless tapes of him on film in his freshman and sophomore year of him just flipping over people and just pancaking people. Pancake is the wrong word, but just throwing them out over and just getting past their center. It's awesome. It's really awesome. So I think Peter Woods makes the most sense here. Panthers, Kenyon Sadiq is right here. Maybe Warren would have gone if Kenyon Sadiq got taken earlier, but we're going to go Kenyon Sadiq here. I think this makes the most sense for this team. They need a tight end here. The tight end room is not very competitive. I don't know. I know it's Tommy Trumbull, Mitch Evans. Like, I'm not really investing to this guy's long term. I really am not. I think if you take Kenyon Sadiq, can be that good outside presence too. It's another weapon for Bryce Young. It really is. And next to it, an offensive rookie of the year, Tanner Malone, a solid piece in Jalen Coker, a developmental piece in Xavier Legette. It's not a bad idea. It really isn't. And I think Kenyon Sadiq isn't as sought after as I was Brock Bowers. I've said this a million times. He's not as good as I thought Brock Bowers was, but I think he's still a good prospect. I think he's warranted a first round pick. Maybe in a more crazy draft class, he goes in the second round. But I like this pick a lot for them. I think Kenyon Sadiq makes a lot of sense for this team because, you need a tight end. Bryce Young has proven that he can do well with good weapons. I don't think he's going to elevate the people around him, but he's going to use his weapons well. So I think that's a good option for him. It really is. And I think I like this pick a lot for them. It's a good schematic fit as well. With the Cowboys on the clock, there's areas they can go here as well. The corner board has fallen really well. So the problem is, take your pick of the litter. The four right here. The four right here. Maybe more than the three. I don't think Brandon Cisse is going to go this high. But I think Amen Troll fits this role a lot. It really does. I think he'll play bigger. I'm really high on Amen Troll too. I think I have him as my corner three other than Delane and McCoy. I think he's an awesome fit for this team. I think he'll be awesome for this team. The only reason is because he's a little smaller. He's not going to go as high as some people want him to. That's going to be a real issue. But I think people need to calm down on if he's ready to play on the boundary. I think he is. He proved that at Clemson, and again, has a real knack for the ball. He can get to the ball. He can also blitz if you need him to. He'd be a solid nickel corner if you need him to be a nickel corner. If you draft a boundary corner next year and say, oh, okay, Aaron Terrell is not working out at boundary, let's play him in the nickel. He'll be an even better nickel. But I think for what you need right now, DaRon Bland, it's not going to be the cornerback one. I need you to be a number one corner, and I think Aaron Terrell can step in and be that guy regardless. He has so much versatility and flexibility as a corner too. It's awesome. You don't really see these type of guys, like honestly, I don't really see these type of guys like be successful in the NFL, especially like with a short frame. I think he can be one of those exceptions. I really do. I like it a lot. The Steelers, with Omar Cooper Jr. gone and all these guys gone, I don't want to take Denzel Boston. I think Casey Conception is an enticing pick, especially with the idea of him playing wide receiver and punt returner. Not a bad option at all. This team needs a guard. I really hate taking Blake Miller here. I'm sorry. I just don't like it. I really don't. I think you can maybe reach on Emmanuel Pregnon. I'm going to go Emmanuel Pregnon here out of Oregon. I like Emmanuel Pregnon. I think he's a top 32 player. It's just he's an older prospect, but he has produced at USC and Oregon, two top-notch programs. So I think people are kind of underrating how good he will be. He hasn't had the highest upside ever, but he's an older prospect. You know what you're going to get out of him. You're going to get a solid guard. That's going to be pretty good for this team. This team has a glaring need at guard. I'd rather them reach for Emmanuel Pregnon than I would Blake Miller, or even Caden Proctor, who's, again, more developmental and giving up on Broderick Jones completely. I know he hasn't been amazing, but I think I would wait for a better tackle class. And if you guys suck and stink, which they usually don't, you can maybe get a tackle later on. But I think you can maybe get a tackle next year when the class is a little bit better. That makes a little more sense for me as a person who would want that. So I think taking Emmanuel Pregnon is good. I think he is a little bit better in the running pro. I think he can get a little bit down speed there. But he's also pretty good in the passing pro. It's just an overall solid prospect. I don't know how high of a prospect he'll get. I don't know if he'll ever be a Pro Bowl or an All Pro, but he'll be a solid player and he'll be a good starter for the next couple of years. So I don't know why people are really hating on that pick. I like it a lot. Chargers, safety isn't a bad need for them either. Wide receiver is not bad either. They've paid a lot of defensive interior, so maybe I want to stray away from that today. I think you can maybe take an edge here. I don't hate TJ Parker here. I hate Cassius Howell here. I really do. I don't also hate Akeem Esther bring some more pressure off. I'm going to go TJ Parker here, though. I like TJ Parker here a lot. He's not going to wow you the most. And I know people are concerned with this edge group for the Chargers. I think I'm kind of concerned too with Khalil Mack is a little bit of an aging prospect, not even a prospect, a little bit of an aging player. I think people are going to be a little concerned there in the long-term future. So I think you can play that, plug in TJ Parker, can learn behind Khalil Mack, learn behind some of these other edges, and get some reps there, and eventually develop his skills into being the next Khalil Mack replacement. So it makes a lot of sense for this team. They need an edge. I also say wide receivers in play too. I don't hate this play at all. I think Casey Concepcion is not a bad idea. He's kind of similar to that Ladd McConkey role, so maybe Denzel Boston. But again, I like TJ Parker. Makes a lot of sense for this team. The Eagles, I'm going to go instant production. I'm going to go Akeem Esther, edge out of Miami. I think people are starting to drop Akeem Esther a little bit. I have him more in this 23 range. I think that makes a lot of sense for his team. I think they need a true edge, and I think this team is really building for youth. So I wouldn't take a developmental project in Keldrick Folk with his pass rushing skills. This team needed pass rush. Get your pass rusher right here. Even though he's 25, get your pass rusher. It makes a lot of sense here. It really does. And I think people are concerned about the injury concerns, but the only reason is that because he played defensive interior in college, and he got injured in defensive interior at West Virginia and sometimes Miami, Florida. But I think at edge he had a relatively clean injury history. So if you take Akeem here, it's not a bad option too. It really isn't. So if you bank on the pass rushing and you need pressure, it makes a lot of sense to go Akeem here. The Browns here, I'm gonna go Caden Proctor. I'm gonna go on the developmental side. I'm gonna go Caden Proctor. Tom Monken gets his tackle of the future. It makes a lot of sense. He has an unreal frame. The reason why he's falling so more is because his entire presence and his technique is not that great. He moves pretty good laterally for how big he is. I think people like to harp on that, but I don't think it's for his size. It's reasonable. He moves that quickly, so it's average to above average moving length there. He also has crazy arm reach. He's just tested off the charts physically. It's a big guy. You can't teach his size. It's just a solid player. It really is, and I think this team could use someone like that because I think they need a tackle here. They really do, and this offensive line is bad. I think they build up their offensive line for that quarterback, regardless who it is. Makes the most sense for me. I like it a lot. We're going to go Caden Proctor here. Build up that left side and right side. The Bears, there's areas they can go here as well. I think Emmanuel Warren, the value is too good to pass up on. I think people might reach for Emmanuel Warren, not even like a reach, but like the drop-off, teams might take him because of the drop-off and how bad it is. Because it's Emmanuel Warren, Dylan Thiemann, and Caleb Downs, and the drop-off is crazy. It goes to A.J. Hall-C, Kamari Ramsey, Bud Clark, and Zaki Wheatley. Then it goes down to Cole Wisniewski, who has injury history, VJ Payne, Lorenzo Styles, and Isaiah Nokobia. That's going to be a interesting area to talk about, but I think Emmanuel Warren is not a bad option for this team. They need a real safety presence on the outside. I like it a lot. It just makes more sense for this team, and I like this pick. Again, it makes sense. It really does. They need safety. They lost. I know that they signed Kobe Bryant, but they lost Brisker and Gardner Johnson. I think they need more safety depth. I think I like it a lot, even if they sign Kobe Bryant. It could be a good 1-2 punch to Kobe Bryant. I like it a lot. I think it makes a lot of sense, and I think they can have a real like safety duo for the future with this. So I like it a lot. It makes a lot of sense for me. The Bills, I usually go Kojic Folk here, but maybe not. Maybe not. Let's see. A linebacker is in play too. I don't hate C.J. Allen here. I don't usually mock C.J. Allen here. He had a terrible pro day. He really did. His pro day sucked. Like, he just looked slow. He looked like he was injured. Like, I don't know. It just looked bad. He didn't look fast. I've always had my concern with C.J. Allen of him being slower. And that pro day really concerned me because he just wasn't flying to the ball. He looked clunky. I don't like what I saw from him. I really don't. And that was my main issue with him coming out of college, is that he can get downhill. Has good straight lines to be a good hit. The problem is his change of direction, how well he covers these small guys and gets to the quarterback. Not to the quarterback, to the receiver or the running back, to just flying to the ball. That's been a real issue for him in college, and just as my scouting report, I'm not a gigantic fan of some of his plays. It really isn't. Same with Blake Miller. I don't know why I just stuck in a Blake Miller job, but it's the same with Blake Miller. I'm not a huge fan of some of his plays. So that's gonna be a real issue. But I think this team could use a linebacker. It really can. I think I would prefer Jacob Rodriguez here, but I think the organizations might value C.J. Allen a little bit more. But again, they need a linebacker here. It's not a bad idea to take him. The 49ers on the clock. I'm going to go Blake Miller, tackle out of Clemson. You can maybe develop him under Trent Williams a little bit more. Do you want to worry, like, with Trent Williams, do you want to, like, help him out? I think Blake Miller, Max Sinatra plays right tackle, so I think I would prefer Blake Miller playing left tackle because Trent Williams is a blind side blocker. So if you play Blake Miller here, that's not a bad idea, and it makes a lot of sense for this team. I think they need somebody like this, so I think they get a tackle here, develop him, and eventually be a long-term solution. It's not a bad option. It's not the flashy pick again, but I'd rather you take for the future than reach for another player. With the Texans, I have a lot of areas to go here. I think K. McDonald is not a bad pick at all. You can get defensive interior out of the way. Maybe go Jamal McCoy, but I'm going to go Caden McDonald, defensive interior nose tackle out of Ohio State. He has great run plugging ability. It's awesome. It's probably one of the best, maybe behind Lee Hunter. Maybe it is the best in some people's books. It's the best in mine. I like it a lot for this team. This team could use a defensive interior. I like it. It makes sense for this team. They need a defensive interior. They really do. And I would prefer you take a guy like Caden McDonald and eventually keep on retooling that team. It makes a lot of sense for this team. It really does. I like it a lot. The Chiefs on the board. So people usually go an edge rusher here. I think the edge rushing board isn't that bad to the point where you can wait. Do I double up and take another corner here? Let's see. So if you look at the Chiefs corner, Christian Fulton, Noah Williams. Is that going to stop you from drafting a potential stud in Jamal McCoy? No. For me, today it doesn't. We're going to get a little crazy. I know I don't usually do this. I don't have Jamal McCoy dropping this far. But today, this is something I wanted to bring up. Jamal McCoy going to the Chiefs. that is not a bad idea. It really isn't, because you need corner depth. I don't think any of these guys up here are going to stop you from taking Jamal McCoy. And I know they just took Delane. They just did. But I think Jamal McCoy can be awesome. You get arguably the two best corners in this draft class. Come on. I would take the chance of Jamal McCoy, even with the ACL injury. They sometimes come back from it even better. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes they do. And if he's a real guy with a good mental and just an overall good body and a good prospect, you're going to take the chance on this. You are. And I think this makes a lot of sense for this team. I think you need it. I think you really need it. So if you take Jamal McCoy here, not a bad idea. This team needs a defensive back anyways. They lost two of their corners to the Rams. So if you take Jamal McCoy, pair him up with Mansour Delane, arguably the two best corners in this draft, solid draft for the Rams, or for the Chiefs. Sorry, it's a real good draft. I like it a lot. The Dolphins, they need a defensive back too. You would have loved Jamal McCoy. You would have loved it. I'm going to go Colton Hood, though. I like Colton Hood here. Two Tennessee corners go back-to-back. Colton Hood has had interesting development. There was problems with his Senior Bowl. He had a pretty good combine, so I'm going to have him going around this range. Makes a lot of sense. Pretty good tackling-wise. It gets a little worse as the game goes on, but it's pretty good tackling-wise. Solid speed. Not elite speed, but solid speed. Pretty good in zone coverage. It's just a solid prospect. I think that people are kind of overthinking this pick. I think you take a solid prospect, especially after Jordan Tyson, your wide receiver. You're kind of your home run hit. You're either a strikeout or a grand slam, that type of pick. I think Colton Hood is a solid pick. It's a pretty good pick. He can slot into that number one corner. He already did that at Tennessee. I think he can already do it in the NFL. Not a bad idea. Patriots go Max Iheanacho, tackle out of Arizona State. This makes a lot of sense for me too. I think they could use a tackle like Max Iheanacho, who's a little bit more of a developmental project, but I would rather you take a chance on him now. So if you make him into that tackle, which is Morgan Moses' role, who might be gone in not too long. If you take Max Iheanacho here to develop him under Morgan Moses, would not be a bad option for this team. You can move him to tackle. He isn't gonna start immediately and be the best ever. That's the thing you have to worry about him. He has great physicals. He's just a behemoth. He's a real behemoth, and that's what you want from this guy. You want him to be a great player with great physicals. It's just his technique. It's kind of like Ken Proctor in a way, where you don't know what you're going to get out of him. You really don't. So take a Max Iheanacho here, not a bad idea, because you eventually develop him into that guy you want him to be. The Seahawks, I just can't stop taking Keldrick Folk here. I really can't. Should I wait, or should I go defensive back? I don't like the board here. I really don't. I'm going to go Keldrick Folk here. I'm going to keep on doing it until I don't. Keldrick Folk is a great prospect. He has a great run-stopping ability. He doesn't have to be that immediate number one pass rusher guy in that defense. They already have two great pass rushers, so you can eventually work on that. They did lose some pass rushers like Boye Mafe, some other rotational guys in free agency. Taking Keldrick Folk here doesn't have to have the bulk of the damage. You don't have to have him come in and be that immediate number one guy. A solid option for this team. It really is. I think I like Keldrick Folk here. It makes a lot of sense for this team. It really does. With the Jets on the board, I think a corner is 100% in play. Maybe even a guard. You haven't taken a guard yet. Do you want to reach on a guard here? Or maybe hope one of them fall? You already took Albert Senor Jr. Not a gigantic hitter. Do you want to... for how the board's fallen, maybe you take Ty Simpson here and just hope he works, but... I'm going to go with the Jets taking Ty Simpson. I really am. I know the Cardinals would have loved Ty Simpson, but it doesn't happen. But Ty Simpson goes here. It makes a lot of sense for this team. I like Ty Simpson when he's not so inconsistent, and he doesn't have the greatest arm strength in the world. He's a little bit better off his back foot in some cases. When he steps into the ball, it sometimes goes errant and goes everywhere, or he underthrows it sometimes. His arm strength is a bit of a concern. That's going to be a real issue. But I think he has the upside to be a great quarterback in the NFL. I just think he needs to sit behind it, and I think Geno Smith can help mentor him a little bit and eventually just get him eased into the NFL. I think he can help him that with especially some of these reads and some of these mechanical issues. I think Geno Smith is a fine mentor. It really is. So I don't hate Ty Simpson here. It makes a lot of sense for this team. I prefer Ty Simpson than instead of reaching on another player, but you can also argue Ty Simpson is a reach, so that's a big issue. But he is working out with the Jets today, I think, or something. He's doing something with the Jets today. So take Ty Simpson here, not a bad idea. The Cardinals. There's Arizin go here as well. They just did take a tackle, so edge rusher is not out of play here. I think Zion Young makes sense for this team. I would like Zion Young here. He did get a DUI, which is a real issue, but when he's on the field, he's amazing. He's really solid. I think I like Zion Young here. He had great potential as a edge in the NFL. I think he'll be awesome. I really do, and I like him. He can get to the quarterback. He can pretty good as a run stopper. He's a solid prospect. It makes a lot of sense for this team. I like it a lot. I really do. With the Titans, do you want to reach on a running back, or do you want to settle for a linebacker here? I think for the value, I like Jacob Rodriguez a lot here. I do. I really do. I think this team could use someone like Jacob Rodriguez, who is really good. He can get some picks, can get some tackles. He's a solid prospect. He kind of a do-it-all type of guy. He wasn't a tremendous athlete, but he tested pretty well in the combine. I wasn't expecting him to blow it out the water, and he didn't. But for what we were promised, he exceeded that, and he ran a really good 44.58, which is solid for what we expected. Had really good fluent drills, really good measurements. It was a solid prospect, and I think people could use a linebacker like Jacob Rodriguez. His team could. I think Robert Saleh can kind of use him similar to some of the other linebackers he used in New York and also in San Francisco. I like it a lot. It makes the most sense, and the value is awesome. I really is. I think Jacob Rodriguez for me is a first-round player. And I think people are kind of stopping on that because he's a little bit of an older prospect, but I say we hold Jacob Rodriguez to the same category we do Akeem Mesidor, which is that fringe day one type of guy, maybe early day two type of guy, right? Like, I think that's a perfect range for him. It's awesome. It really is. I think he can be an amazing quarterback amazing linebacker for this team. The Raiders, I like the board here a lot for them to take Lee Hunter or Christian Miller. I usually mock Christian Miller here. I'm going to go Christian Miller. I like Christian Miller. A little bit more of an athletic beast. It makes a little more sense for this team to take him here. I think you can bank on the upside. This team is retooling. Instead of taking Lee Hunter, I think he's a little bit of an older prospect too. He's about to be 24 versus Christian Miller, who's a little bit younger. I think I like Christian Miller here. I feel like the athleticism is a little bit bigger too with Christian Miller. It makes a lot of sense for this team to try to get Christian Miller involved. They need a defensive interior after losing Christian Wilkins. That contract was a bust. But if you like Christian Miller here, I think you take him. It really does. For the Giants, I would go Denzel Boston here. The problem is Denzel Boston was used more as a wide receiver one in Washington. I think that'll benefit him better if he's going to a wide receiver one needing team. So I think that works a little bit better for this team. I think I'm gonna go Casey Concepcion here. I like it. I like it a lot. This team needs a slot receiver. Now they lost Wanda Robinson. I know they did sign Calvin Austin. I know they did do that, and even Darnell Mooney. But I think Casey Concepcion can share that role with Calvin Austin and even Darnell Mooney to a point, and Slayton. Like, he can. Obviously, Neighbors going to be the number one receiver, but I think Casey Concepcion can be that good outside guy. His problem with his catching, but I think you can overlook that, and you can use him in different ways too. Punt returner, catch, kick returner. There's a lot of areas they need him to. They can play him. So it's a lot of good versatility with him, and also this team just needs wide receiver depth. Denzel Boston, I don't think has crazy elite separation off the line. When he gets off the line, it's a little concerning there. So maybe take Casey Concepcion, who is sneakily good at getting off the line and getting past some of these defensive backs off the line, which his team kind of lacked in last year. So I don't hate this pick at all for them. Texans, Miss Ayers and go here as well. I think you can maybe work on a guard here. I think taking Chase Pasantis here is not a bad idea. I think you need a guard. I know they did sign Wyatt Teller, but I think Chase Pasantis isn't a bad option here. Pretty good in the pass pro. You can develop him. I think it'll be awesome for his team. Pretty good, violent. He honestly had a pretty good showcasing too. I like him. I really do. I don't think he's my favorite guard prospect ever, but he's a solid pick, and I think people need to start realizing that. I think I like Chase Pasantis here. The Browns, I think they're going to double up on wide receiver here. I'm going to go Denzel Boston, wide receiver out of Washington. I think the value is too good to pass up on. It makes a lot of sense here. Denzel Boston, I watched this film. It's solid, but it's not elite separation down the field or even off the line. And Washington was kind of using him in these like smoke screen type of ways where he gets the screen and runs up. His run after catch isn't that bad for how big he is. He's also really good and at his catch point, which is something else that we all know. He's gigantic too, so you can grab it. His frames are good. He moves solid for his weight and height, and he runs his routes with crisp and authority. That's what you want from a receiver, but he doesn't have elite separation, so you're worried against some of these faster corners and maybe some of these better corners like PS2. Even Derek Stingley, who are these faster corners, even though they're a little smaller. Derek Stingley is a little smaller, or like even Sauce Gardner, like who's a faster corner. It's not really a jammer like Jalen Ramsey, right? You're worried how well he will actually like do against those. Because you don't know how much separation he's gonna get, and it's gonna be against some of these better corners. It gets concerning. But I think at round number 2 is not a bad area. I think he is a wide receiver 1 caliber player. And I think he can be a good contrast next to Carl Tate. It's not a bad option to take him. It really isn't. And you got a solid receiving core in Jerry Jeudy, Carl Tate, and Denzel Boston. It's not a bad idea to pair him up with those guys. The Chiefs are taking both the best corners in the draft. Edges do. I'm going to go Malachi Lawrence here. People aren't sold on Malachi Lawrence. I have him more as a top 50 type player. I think he's awesome. I think he can get to the quarterback when you need him to. Decent strength. It's just I don't really feel the impact on tape sometimes. I don't. And that's a real issue because I feel like I need to feel how good you are on tape. That's why I have Carl Tate ranked so highly, because I think I feel the impact. Even with Jeremiah Smith, there was also just, where's Carl Tate going? Like, is it going to go to Jeremiah Smith or Carl Tate? That's how I felt with Carl Tate. That's how I felt with Ruben Bain. I was like, how is Ruben Bain going to quarterback? Is Ruben Bain going to chase him down? Because I talked about this on Monday. I said, Ruben Bain doesn't give up on a play. I'm not saying Malachi Lawrence does either. Malachi Lawrence gets to the quarterback too, and he doesn't give up on a play either. I think he just has solid passion for this game. But I don't feel that. I don't feel it. I don't know how to describe it. I kind of just don't feel it, and that's gonna be an issue. But he gets to the quarterback. He gets there. He's a solid prospect. I think he'll be solid for whatever team needs him to. I think Spags can use him in a good way, and eventually to be that edge for the future. I know George Karlaftis has not been a bad pick for what you got him, for the value you got him at. It hasn't been tremendous, but it hasn't been a bad pick. And I think Malachi Lawrence can eventually step in and be that number 1 edge for the future. Not a bad idea for you to take that gamble in a way. I like it a lot. Bengals, there's areas that can go here as well. I think defensive interiors in play too. I think I like Lee Hunter here a lot. I'm going to go Lee Hunter. Defensive interior out of Texas Tech, pairing him up with his former teammate and current teammate in the scenario, David Bailey. Real good at plugging the nose. He's awesome. He can get in between the tackles and stop the run stopper. Problem is his strength and size good enough to eventually be that pass rushing force that you need him to be. This team doesn't need a defensive interior, so it's not bad to take him. I like it. I think it makes sense for his team. I think they need a defensive interior. I know Lee Hunter did have the problems with how well he actually performed at the Senior Bowl, which really rose his stock, but also the combine, he had a really bad combine, so that was a big problem. But I think if you take Lee Hunter here, you bank on the upside. It's not a bad idea to take him here. The Saints, the value for some of these guys aren't bad. I would like a linebacker or wide receiver here after taking Caleb Downs. So we're gonna start those two guys. We'll see. So Jake Galladay is not a bad option for this team. Linebacker class is pretty deep. I really like the reunion from Tyler Shough and Chris Bell. It's not a bad idea to go here. I'm going to go Chris Bell. He could be a good area. You're not going to have him immediately as wide receiver because he did tear his ACL, but I had him mocked in the first round consistently when he didn't tear his ACL and when he was healthy. That's a good upside to bring with, and he also has the connection to Tyler Shough and have had college success in the past. So I like it a lot. It makes a lot of sense for this team. I think they need a wide receiver 1. It's not a bad, wide receiver 2 across from Chris Olave. I like Chris Olave, but he's a little injury prone. So I think Chris Bell can get that wide receiver 1 type talent in the second round just because he tore his ACL. That's awesome. It's a real awesome pick. I like it a lot. I like Tyler Shough's ability to eventually use him in that way he kind of did in Louisville too, which got him drafted. So I like it a lot for this team. The Dolphins, after trading with the Broncos, they need guard here. I think Caleb Love, the value is really good. It really is. I'm going to go Caleb Love, move him into guard or tackle, be the swing tackle role. It's not a bad idea. This team could use that. And I think the value is too good for him to pass up on. You can get Caleb Love, move him to guard, play him as a swing tackle. Not a bad idea. And they get their 2 biggest needs, wide receiver, guard, defensive back. I think you need more in the defensive back area, but you have rounds 3 later. So it's not a bad idea to take your guard of the future here and eventually polish him to being a good guy, because Caleb Love, I have had concerns with him. He's a left tackle. I've had concerns with him playing tackle in long-term future. I feel like he's sometimes a little too slow, but his strength is pretty good. But the only problem is he's not refined enough for me to feel confident in him playing tackle. So if you play guard here, it's not a bad idea to take the chance on that. I like it a lot. The Jets, after taking Ty Simpson, Omar Jr., and Alvaro Reese, loaded up on some of those talent there. I think taking Chris Johnson or Brandon Cisse is not a bad idea. I'm going to go Chris Johnson here out of San Diego State University. Like it a lot. I think this makes a lot of sense for this team. I think Chris Johnson would be awesome. I like Chris Johnson here. It makes a lot of sense for this team. You need a corner 1 here after training with Sauce Gardner. And I like Chris Johnson here. Again, it makes sense for this team to go in that direction and get the quarterback 1 of the future. And it's good value. He's pretty good in zone coverage, really good with his hands. He doesn't really drop the football much. I've seen corners have concerns with that. So that's why there's an ongoing joke. If you're a receiver and you can't catch your hands, you're a corner now. So That's the ongoing joke. Funny guys, right? But you go Chris Johnson, not a bad pick here. I like it a lot for this team. They need a real corner one, and this team could use him. The Ravens, after taking a guard / center here and tackle, wide receiver is not out of the loop yet. Maybe linebacker is not bad either. I'm gonna go Jake Alladay here. This team likes to use their linebackers. I don't know how much that'll shift after Harbaugh's gone, but I think Minter would like to use a linebacker here. It's not a bad idea to take Jake Alladay here, who has good straight line speed. A little concerning on his lateral movement, how move he loses side to side, but again, he didn't have the greatest combine ever, but I think he'll be solid. He had a big hitter, can get downhill. Solid pick for this team that needs it. After Levante David retired for the Bucks, there's areas you can go here too. I think a linebacker is also really good too. Get Josiah Trotter here. I think I like Josiah Trotter a lot. Really good tackler, a little young, a little bit more on the developmental side, but I think you can sub him to the linebacker and you'll get some good tackles. It'd be awesome. I'm pretty high on Josiah Trotter here too. I think he's a top 50 player in my class. I think he's an awesome fit for whatever team gets him. I think he could really be used in some of this area. So I like Josiah Trotter a lot. I know people aren't really as high on how young he is, which is a valid concern because he is very developmental. But this team doesn't need a linebacker, and I don't think they can prolong it anymore. So take the shot on the younger guy. Hopefully he turns out really well. If he doesn't, tough luck, I guess. I don't know. You might be cursed because I guess Levante David's cursing you to the end of time. So it's a good option for this team. The Colts, I'm going to go Caleb Banks, take the shot on the upside. The problem with Caleb Banks is that he gets injured every single year. It sucks, but he's just moves so fluid. I had him as a first round, maybe top 20 pick as someone who was going off without his broken foot, but he was playing through the combine or broke his foot during the combine. Something happened during the combine with his foot, which made him break it, or maybe before the combine he was playing with a broken foot. Regardless, he hurt something in his foot, and that's been the story of his career because that's why he missed so much time this year, because he got something wrong. So there's always something wrong with him. It really is. And other than that, the physicals are great. It's kind of like Jordan Tyson, where the physicals are great, but you don't know what's going to happen with his injury and if he's actually going to be available on Sunday. So that's going to be a real issue. That really is. And I think Caleb Banks isn't a bad option. He has crazy upside. He can move people like it's nothing. He's fast. He's freakishly fast for his size. Problem is, again, the injury history. So I think taking him as a second round pick is not a bad idea. It really isn't. So I think people will be fine with that. I think that makes the most sense for me. The Falcons, Jeremy Bernard on the board. I always mock Jeremy Bernard here, not because I don't know, I just like Jeremy Bernard to the Falcons, but he has great ceiling. Not the highest ceiling in the world. I don't think he has the highest ceiling as some of these other guys in the draft class, but he has a really low floor. Can do everything solid. He's kind of the dirty work type of player. Play in the slot, get these tough yards after catch. Can really just sit in the zone, in between zones, be really good. He's a little bit smaller guy, but again, he's not the smallest guy in the world. But he has played slot in Alabama. He has played outside in Alabama, so you can have some versatility. Next to Drake London, it's not a bad contrast to have a smaller guy next to him. The team needs a wide receiver. Losing Darnell Mooney, I think you need another wide receiver. And the defensive interior board is not well. Maybe you can take Brandon Cesar here. I wouldn't hate that pick, or even a linebacker here, and taking Aiden Fisher. I would have loved Aiden Fisher here, but he doesn't go here. So people are not high on Aiden Fisher for some reason. I don't know why. He was awesome. I think Anthony Hill Jr. is too developmental. I think I like Jeremy Bernard here for the value. It makes most sense. But I wouldn't be upset by Brandon Cesar. The Vikings, after taking Peter Woods, they're gonna go another guard / center here. I'm gonna go Caden Rutledge, guard out of Georgia Tech. I think they can use someone like Caden Rutledge, who's a big, who can just who's just feisty, can get down the hill. He's strong. He's really strong. I think this team can use another guard. I like it a lot. And they move him to center. Move someone else to center. And it wouldn't be a bad option to take a guard here. I think they need a guard, offensive line. You can always use an offensive line. Really can. So I like this pick a lot for them. Makes a lot of sense. Lions here. Defensive lineman is not a bad idea. Why don't we pair up the Michigan edge rushers? We're going to take Derek Moore. It's kind of more of a my guy type of pick. I like Derek Moore a lot. He had a great Senior Bowl. I was a top 32 player. I think he'd definitely be a first round pick if people start noticing more. He has what some of this edge rushers in the class is lacking, which is 3 down lineman ability, which is a big issue, which is a big given for me. I want you to be able to play 3 down, and Derek Moore can do that, and especially in a class that's liking it with Cassius Howell, Artis Thomas. I would prefer a Derek Moore type player because you can pair him up and be solid. And he isn't the most explosive on tape, but the problem is, I think he's already just so good enough to the point where he can get to the quarterback enough. Why are we concerned about that? I think he can get to the quarterback. He can stop the run. He's a real solid player. He had a really good Senior Bowl. He tested it out pretty well. People are kind of underrating and undermining how good he is, and that's going to become a real issue and a real problem for me. I like Derek Moore a lot. I think that for how he has tested out, he's been really solid, and I think people are starting to underrate that. I think I want to do a film session before the draft on him, just him alone. This is again more of my guy type of pick. I like Derek Moore a lot. This makes a lot of sense for this team. Defenders are taking Kenyon City here. Not a bad idea to start investing into the defensive interior or defensive line a little bit more. I know you did send Devin Lloyd. Maybe you take another linebacker here, but I'm gonna go with the defensive interior position. I'm gonna go Big Citrus here. One of the best nicknames I've seen in a hot minute. I've said this a lot of time, but I like the nickname Big Citrus. Real big run stopper. I had a down year compared to that, but again, defensive interiors get game plan around. I don't know if it was as egregious as Peter Woods, but again, he got game plan around, so I like it a lot. He had a great 2024. I think 2025 was a little bit of a down year, but if you take the upside here, not a bad idea to take the defensive interior next to Derek Brown. Not a bad idea regardless. You need an edge rusher. They do run a 3-2. Wouldn't be a bad idea to pair him up with some of those other guys. And Jalen Phillips, Derek Moore, not a bad guy. This team really need a more in the trenches in the edge rushing department. I like it a lot here. It makes a lot of sense. The Packers, with Brandon Cisse here, I think the value is too good for them to pass up on. I like it a lot here. I think Brandon Cisse can just be really solid. I have his problems with press man coverage. Some of his tape I've watched, he does get burned in some press man coverage, and his footwork and hand placement does get concerning. But in zone, as an athlete, as a ball hawk, he's amazing. I think people kind of get concerned that in South Carolina had a solid secondary with him in the backcourt. It's not a bad idea in the backfield. It's not a bad idea to take Brandon Cisse here. Kind of work on the upside, and I think they can work on a little bit more corner depth. Not a bad idea taking it. Steelers, after taking a Malin Pregnon here, there's areas they can go as well. Do you want to take a developmental project in Sunker, or do you want to take another wide receiver, get another wide receiver off the board, take a more of a slot type of guy? I think Zachariah Branch can fit that role, get more weapons. This team needs to load up on weapons because there wasn't enough last year. So I say double down, 10 toes down, say 10 toes on business, stand on business, whatever the saying is. You go Zachariah Branch here, get that slot type of guy, shifty type of guy. I think people are really concerned with how well he is going to be in the NFL. I think just as a slot shifty type of guy, he would be awesome for his team. He doesn't have crazy straight line speed, but he's really shifty. He's kind of like Kadarius Toney, where he can just go left to right really quickly, which is like he has no ACLs and stuff, where he can just like keep on going left to right. There's good enough catching. You can play him anywhere. He'd probably play playing the slot next to Pittman and DK Metcalf. Not a bad idea to invest into the secondary, and it makes a lot of sense for this team. I really like this pick. The Eagles, there's a lot they can go here as well. I maybe want another corner. I think Iggy Nosen is not bad, but I know they sent Tariq Woolen, so maybe not. Really, maybe not, because you already have DeJean there. So don't like that at all. After losing Reed Blankenship, maybe you go AJ Halsey here. Not a bad idea. You took an edge. You want to take a tackle here? I don't like the tackle board at all, I'm going to be honest. Maybe you take a wide receiver. Maybe you take Ted Hurst here. Next to Devontae Smith won't be a bad option. Ted Hurst did not play against the best competition ever, but I think people are kind of overrating that. I think people need to understand that Ted Hurst is not a bad prospect. I like Ted Hurst a lot. I think he'll be awesome. He has good speed. His route running is a little concerning because most of his tape is just him getting past due to speed, so that might not work that well in the NFL level. I don't know how well that'll translate, but I feel like at one point you have to be like, okay, he has great catching. He's pretty good at his speed. His physicals are there. He's great frame. Maybe you take a chance on Ted Hurst here, and if you take away A.J. Brown and he goes somewhere else, Ted Hurst wouldn't be a bad replacement. Devontae Smith can be wide receiver 1, Ted Hurst can be wide receiver 2. Not a bad idea. Take the developmental project. Not a bad idea. And you can just develop him behind anyways. Again, just not a bad idea. The Chargers, guard is a big need. The guard board is not that great, though. Jake Farmer, a little concerned. Billy Schroth, a little concerned. Maybe you go Jennings Dunker moving into as a guard. I like that pick a lot. Or even Caleb Tiernan, put that swing tackle role. Eventually, if Rashawn Slater gets injured, you go Caleb Tiernan. I know I hate to say eventually because Rashawn Slater has had an injury-riddled career. So Caleb Tiernan doesn't test that well in the hand department. He has a little bit below average hands. He's a little bit slow, but if you need him to play tackle, he will play tackle for you, and I think he'd be awesome. And you can also play him as guard, which this team does have a need for. I think this team could use someone like Caleb Tiernan who could be that swing tackle role, and it's a solid pick for them. And I think for the value, if you get Caleb Tiernan, and then you in the first round you get who they get in the first round, who I have them mocking to dementia. Tisha Parker's not a bad idea. You get your edge and corner, or sorry, edge and guard roles out of the way. Not a bad idea to take after losing the Jaguars on the board after losing Devin Lloyd. not a bad idea to take somebody else here. I like Anthony Hill Jr. a little bit more of a developmental project, but I could see them utilizing Hill, who's great down field and blocking, and solid off blocks too, getting to the quarterback. Even in cover sometimes he was pretty good. Can be utilized more as a blitzer than something else, but I think it would be a solid pick for this team. The Bears on the clock. Maybe you take Kachisawa here. I'm going to go Gabe Jacas, though. It makes a lot of sense for this team. They need a edge for the future. Not a bad idea to take a shot on Gabe Jacas. I like it a lot. Pretty solid 3-down lineman ability. I think this team needs that. Not a bad idea to take him. The 49ers on the clock. I'm going to go Kachisawa here. Again, makes sense for this team. I think this team needs another edge here. I like Kachisawa a lot. I think he'll be awesome for this team. I think he is actually, I'm lying. I don't like Kachisawa that much because his arm length is short, 30 inches and 1/8 or 1/4. It's not good. It's really not good. So I like someone else here, but I think Kachisawa can provide good upside, especially with Bryce Huff retiring. So someone can get to the quarterback. It's not a bad idea. Won't be a bad contrast to some of those other guys in that room, especially next to Nick Bosa, who was a former defensive player of the year. But you're concerned with his ACL injury, same with Malachi Starks, who also did tear his ACL. So not a bad idea to go Kachisawa here to get some more depth in that edge rushing room, especially you don't know how well you'll perform with Salah Gun, who's a real genius there. So like I like it a lot here. The Texans, maybe you go linebacker here. Contractually, they might have to lose some linebackers, so I like the linebacker class here too. I think Kyle Lewis can do that kind of do it all kind of role where you can play that edge ability, can blitz off the area, but also just play a good linebacker slot. Anyways, this team could use a linebacker here too. Kyle Lewis, again, did not wow me in some of the physical traits for his 40 or for his combine performance, but I've seen worse, and I like it a lot here. I think this, for the value, it's not a bad pick per se. It makes a lot of sense for this team. I like it a lot. For the Bears, they're going to take Connor Lew here. This makes the most sense for me. I like Connor Lew as a prospect. Pretty good. Can stay behind in center, develop him as a center, and then eventually take over long term. Not a bad idea to do that. They need a center here anyways. I think the board has fallen not so great for them, so I'm going to take Connor Lew here. Maybe take a defensive interior later down the draft when it's a little bit better for your value. I think I like Connor Lew here a little bit more. The Rams, with Omar Speights not being great, but the linebacker board, I've taken a lot of linebackers, so I'm not very high on any of these guys. I think they won't reach for Elam's or in Fitcher, so we're going to go somewhere else. You took Mekhi Lemon here. Maybe take a slot corner, take D'Angelo Pons, but Quinton Lake hasn't been that bad in slot corner. But if you play him in safety, interesting here. Maybe take tackle here. Try Jennings Dunker here. I think Jennings Dunker, I don't think I see him as a tackle long term, but I think teams and organizations might try that. So I think I'm going to go Jennings Dunker here. This is what I would do if the board is falling like this. It makes a lot of sense for this team. I think they need a tackle long term anyway, so especially after Habits retired. So taking Jennings Dunker here is not a bad idea to try it out and see how it goes. The Broncos, there's areas you can go here as well. Eli Stowers isn't a bad option. I'm going to go Eli Stowers here. I know he is similar to Evan Ingram, but you might let go of Evan Ingram later down the line. So taking Eli Stowers, so you can play the Evan Ingram role and also be just really good off the catch and had a really good combine. Not a bad idea. He didn't really rise for me after the combine because we already knew he was going to be pretty good athletically. But now, without the athleticism, he's even better. So I don't hate this pick at all for them. I like it a lot. I think Eli Stowers is not a bad pick for what they need. They can also go defensive interior after losing John Franklin Myers, which is going to be a big need, but not a bad idea to take Eli Stowers here at all. The Patriots, with some areas gone, they did take Max Sinatra, developmental tackle. Linebacker's not a bad idea. Edge is not a bad idea. Let's look at the edge class. Let's see what else we can take here. Mason Thomas can be that guy. People have been mocking Mason Thomas in the first round. I think you're crazy after the combine performance. He didn't run so great. He didn't look so great. I think Mason Thomas is fine in the second round. You can take that edge rusher. They don't really need much on the edge rushing. There's a bunch of rotational guys. There's a bunch of DPRs. There's a bunch of guys that can just get to the quarterback too and running stopping downs. It's not a bad idea to take a shot on Mason Thomas. Hopefully he can get to the quarterback. Just win immediately. Wasn't bad at Oklahoma, but I've seen better. I really have seen better. But I like Mason Thomas here. It's not a bad option to take him here. For the Seahawks, there's areas you can go here as well. I'm saying Keldrick Folk. I would like a corner here. I feel like Ignosin can fill that corner role for the Seahawks after losing Tariq Woolen. A little bit of a grabby corner. The only reason why I have him falling is because, again, he just gives up so many yards and penalties. But if you get that technique and that graviness under control, he can be an amazing corner for this team. And he produced at Ohio State. He was locking down premier receivers. He was locking down some of these better guys. It's not a bad idea to take a chance on here, especially after losing Tariq Woolen. He kind of be that Tariq Woolen replacement, maybe that hothead type of guy who can maybe mess up sometimes. Kind of seems eerily similar to Tariq Woolen. I like the fit a lot. This is a good schematic fit for me, especially after taking an edge rusher here. Not a bad idea to take a chance on Kendrick Folk. I definitely think Jadarian Price is in play too as well, but I think I prefer Ignos in here because you need more of a corner. But that's it. Thank you all for watching. Let me know what you guys think of this mock draft. Let me know what you guys think of everything in general. Let me know if you guys just have anything to talk about. I will be here just in case you need me. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.